Hello everyone, my name is Strange, and I believe that people should know the truth. After the release of the video about Zone 51, the link to this video now weighs in the upper right corner of the screen, many of you viewers of our channel began to write to me by mail, asking if I have any information about the Dulce database. Indeed, there is very little reliable information about this secret object. But thanks to the emergency situation that occurred there and the turmoil around it, I managed to get access to classified materials that are classified as the Open Sky Project. As always, for the safety of our source, all names have been changed and the secret documents have been given an artistic color. And so, I'm starting. A middle-aged guy sat at a computer monitor and stared intently at the rows of running numbers. He wrote out some of them in a notebook and then peered at the monitor again. It was necessary to sort out some routine, systematize the data, and then prepare a scheme for the reorganization of the Eastern Building. Strangely enough, all this was blamed on him, an ordinary employee of the Dulce base in New Mexico. This is a great opportunity to rise in your career. This is your chance. Don't miss the opportunity. The words of relatives and colleagues who found out about the transfer to a closed research base were spinning in his head. Of course, they did not know which base. Then he did not know about it himself. Fuck you all. A second younger guy broke away from the next monitor. What's wrong, Andrew? Did you say something? Andrew nodded his head. Just about my own. I got this report. I want coffee. The other guy's name was Jeremiah, and he nodded his head eagerly. Yes, I wouldn't mind either. Can we make a small cut? An hour later, both guys were sitting at a small table, which was littered with folders with papers and drinking coffee from disposable cups, pushing themselves a little space on the table. These papers are endless, Andrew. Have you seen the chief? Not today. Jeremiah shook his head. He walks around, angry as a dragon. Yesterday, but wait. The guy began to pick in the pocket of his white sterile pants and fished out a cell phone. Strangely enough, turned on a YouTube tube. Look, they're talking about our base. The display said nothing about the Dulce base, but they were talking some wild nonsense about experiments on people, about multi-tiered preparation prisons where aliens from almost all regions of the galaxy are kept, and much, much more. And the people believe that? Jeremiah nodded. The people believe in everything that is shrouded in mystery. It's also more interesting. But that's not the point. The chief apparently saw this video. I heard it out of the corner of my ear. After that, by the way, the secrecy regime was strengthened. Did you notice? Andrew felt that certain changes had come. Security was tightened at the upper level, and the exit from the sectors to which the scientists were assigned was prohibited. And how did you turn on this recording? There is no internet. Jeremiah put the phone away. It's not online. I downloaded this recording when I was in the dorm. My contract ends in 10 days and I'm finally going home. But then it's back here. Don't spoil the mood, bro. Let's keep working. A few minutes later, the two analytical scientists were sitting in front of their monitors and tapping keys on the keyboard. It had to be thought out. Aliens, an underground base, secret research. Well, the base is really underground, but its profile is quite definite. Missile defense of the territory of the United States, support and control of a satellite constellation over the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, control and maintenance of underwater ocean tele and fiber optic communications connecting America and Eurasia. Yes, not many people know about this, but continents and countries are connected by many communications, and 90% of them are laid along the ocean floor, and here on Dulce, there is a huge control center. The numbers were finished. Jerry, listen. Will you help me with the reorganization scheme? There are 4 hours left until the end of the working day. I don't have time. How are you? I'm finishing up. Yes, I think it's nothing complicated. Suddenly, somewhere in the distance, something rumbled. The guys exchanged glances. What the? An alarm siren sounded on the wall. A red light bulb spun, casting bright red and light pink spots on the walls in a circle. Alarm. Protocol. Exercises were regularly practiced at the base in case of various emergency situations, but the exercises were negotiated in advance. An experienced instructor from the Warriors acted at each level. They were quite the queens, fit, strong, arrogant. They said that wherever someone goes, you go there, you go there. Take places according to the staffing table. According to the protocol, Andrew and Jeremiah had to leave the workplaces of their department, close the doors with a magnetic lock, and prepare for the destruction of information on personal computers. Is this a drill again? It doesn't look like it. Enter the code, close the doors, and if anything, I start copying information to a closed cloud. Come on, hurry up, don't mess around. But it was not possible to close the door. Outside, she was literally yelled inside, almost knocking Andrew down, by some brave Marine. He held the machine gun with both hands, looked around the room with a furious gaze, and stared at the ventilation hatch.
How did you survive? Half of the sector took a break. The gas was turned on through the ventilation.
Andrew and Jeremiah also looked at the ventilation shaft. What kind of gas? What happened? We have an autonomous... The Marine yelled as he pushed through the door.
Keep quiet. This is an attack. The fighting is going on in the upper sector. They are being finished off there, but somehow they were able to penetrate to our level. Here you go.
The Marine slid the machine gun from behind his back, took it off by throwing the belt over his neck, and threw it to Andrew.
Here you go. Here I said, and this is for you.
The soldier took the pistol out of its holster and threw it to Jeremiah. He awkwardly caught the pistol by the barrel, hit his finger. The gun fell to the floor.
Well, he picked it up. The Marine poked him with the barrel of a machine gun. And follow me now. I'm the only survivor in the entire corridor. Cover me.
But the Marine's plan was not destined to come true. As soon as he ran out into the corridor, dragging two already armed scientists with him, a burst from a machine gun sounded, or maybe something heavier. The soldier was pierced and thrown aside. He was still alive and reached into his pocket for a grenade. A voice sounded in an unfamiliar language, and then a single shot rang out. Andrew was trying to pull the bolt of the machine gun, and Jeremiah was standing like a child and holding the gun sideways in front of his chest, as if trying to cover himself with it. Two soldiers came into the office. They were dressed in suits made of flexible armor plates. They wore maroon berets on their heads, and their faces were painted over with camouflage colors. "Drop your weapon and don't move." The phrase sounded in English but with a strong accent. Andrew had experience with Serbs, and it seemed to him that it was them, although it could also be Russians. "Who are you? What do you need?" "It's a secret." Andrew was not allowed to finish, but simply calmed down with the butt. Jeremiah was trembling and staring with round eyes, clutching the gun to his chest. One of the invading soldiers pointed him out to the second soldier.
At the expense of it, why did you get up?
A burst shot through and threw Jeremiah against the wall. Andrew screamed, but he was roughly shaken by the collar, slapped in the face, and then put a bayonet knife to his neck.
You have the only chance to survive, do you understand? Nod.
Andrew nodded and cut himself a little on the bayonet.
I know you must have a single access code that is known to all employees. If you tell us the code, you'll live. I'll give you 5 seconds.
None when Andrew didn't know. He realized that he had exactly 5 seconds left to live. Suddenly, one of the invading soldiers had a walkie-talkie. If Andrew knew their language, he would be able to make out the following phrase.
"We work the bunker ourselves. Explosives. Finish off the sector, if there are prisoners, then drag one here by the ass."
Understood. Okay, we're taking this one with us.
When the soldiers ran out of the office, taking Andrew with them, the sappers literally followed into the office with a small box, which they carried together. Andrew had the feeling that the attackers were perfectly aware of the location of the premises of their base. He himself did not know where they were going. First, they ran into the end of the corridor. The door was blown up. Then they ran down the stairs and ran into the elevator shaft. The elevator was still working. They drove down for about 5 minutes. While driving, one of the fighters pushed Andrew in the back with a machine gun.
Do you have any idea, Bug, what you've been doing here?
The second soldier was looking at the elevator panel and the running numbers. Andrew was trembling. The first shock began to pass. His lip was shaking. The words were hard to come by. "I'm just an analyst. I deal with logistics and delivery data. I don't know." The soldier was silent. His face, painted with camouflage paint, was scary. His eyes were burning with anger and his teeth were bared. For a second, Andrew thought the soldier was growling. It is unknown what would have happened next if the elevator had not arrived at its destination. Andrew was pushed out of the elevator. He had never been here before.
We have 15 minutes before evacuation. The cleanup team had to work out.
Somewhere in the distance, a long corridor as wide as a hangar was being fired. It was cold. It was the lower underground tier. After a minute, Andrew couldn't believe his words. From the FSB report. Attack on a secret facility in the United States, Dulce-based New Mexico.
A combined Special Forces unit with a separate unit of the Serbian Corps of General Lazic was used in the attack. The purpose of the attack is to suppress research activities, select technologies if possible, ready-made drugs, and competent employees. As for the additional mission, the liberation of a group of paratroopers captured in Mali Vukovar, the mission was not completed due to the impossibility of its implementation. The paratroopers were subjected to experiments at the Dulce base. The corpses were evacuated. During the clash, one of the employees, Andrew Todd, was captured and executed unnecessarily. Transport helicopters captured at the Air Force military base in the Indian reservation bordering the base are involved in the evacuation. The evacuation was carried out along the corridor towards the Mexican border.
Postscript.
The group of Serbs of General Lazic was non-fatally eliminated in order to prevent information leakage. Currently, all of them are enrolled in the FSB Special Forces staff to carry out special and covert operations.
Andrew followed the soldiers through the premises of the experimental research site, divided into sections and cells. No one seemed to be paying attention to him. There were prototypes in each cell. Andrew looked from side to side with wide eyes and couldn't believe it. The huge glass prisms contained minerals unknown to him, porous stones covered with an incomprehensible coating, animals unknown to him, reptiles and snakes, giant spiders. In one place, he clearly saw humanoids, as if from a movie. It was these humanoids, as it became clear and the soldiers were interested in, they almost began to carry huge prisms to the cargo corridor in the depths of the landfill. As soon as the analytical scientist had the idea of escaping, he was roughly grabbed and driven forward with butts.
Go, go, you bastard. Look at what your people have done.
Andrew was pushed into a fenced-off room, flooded with the old light. The walls were also white. But on the walls, oh horror, on the walls 7 naked male bodies hung on hooks. Their bellies were ripped open and torn, their eyes bulged, their mouths opened in a silent scream full of pain. Andrew wanted to turn away, but one of the paratroopers, a huge man, roughly turned him around and hit him in the back of the head.
Look, I say, you bastard. You're going to be hanging now too.
The paratrooper pressed the barrel against Andrew's temple, but he was in no hurry to press. I enjoyed his fear.
Put it down. We'll leave them a reminder, then install thermobaric charges that trigger movement. Command.
The big paratrooper shrugged his shoulders and went to give orders to the sappers, and the commander looked into Andrew's eyes with a cold, icy look. At that moment, he realized that this was his death, the report of a secret unit of the US Army, the Open Sky Project.
The base in Dulce was partially destroyed by an unknown enemy. I am transferring to your computer video materials received online from one of the cameras of a fighter of the isolation group. The head of a young scientist appeared on the display. The head separated from the body and placed on a table in a prominent place. There was a crossed-out American flag on his forehead. And what an inscription! In Russian. Later, the inscription was interpreted and translated. The recording was cut short by a powerful underground explosion. The inscription read, "Greetings from the landing party."
If you think that this is not proof of the existence of aliens, then you are right. There is much more evidence, and on our channel we will reveal all the secrets and evidence of their presence. Subscribe to the channel and send me your stories related to aliens by email. You will find contacts in the About the Channel section. Together we will force the authorities of all countries to disclose all the information they have. After all, people should know the truth.